Hi everyone, please like, subscribe, and share our story to help us grow our community. Thanks. Amaka and Chika were inseparable. They weren't just best friends, they were practically sisters. From secondary school days to university, they were always together, studying, gossiping, crying over heartbreaks, even sharing clothes. People used to joke, if you see Amaka, check the corner, Chika must be there too. They trusted each other with everything: bank pins, house keys, secrets. Amaka would often say, even if the whole world turns against me, I know Chika will never betray me. If only she knew. Tunde, Amaka's husband, was one of those Lagos men with charm that could fool a room. He wasn't faithful, but Amaka had convinced herself his late nights were work. She was too busy balancing her job, 2 kids, and the home to play detective. And Chika married herself to a calm, hard-working man named Emeka, always acted like she was Amaka's protector, warning her about other women. Behind the facade, Chika had her own cravings. She loved attention, and Tunde, with his smooth talk and lazy smile, gave her what Emeka's steady, responsible nature did not. So when Emeka left for a 2-week business trip to Dubai, Chika saw an opportunity. She convinced Tunde to keep her company. Just come over small, Tunde, she whispered on the phone one evening. No one will know. I'm bored, and you know how I get when I'm bored. Tunde chuckled. Chika, you will put me in trouble one day. But fine. Just a few hours. They started sneaking around, enjoying their little dangerous game, until fate decided to serve the mess on a platter. That Saturday evening, Amaka had planned a surprise for Tunde. She was meant to visit her cousin in Ikeja, but changed her mind, thinking, why not surprise my husband at home and cook his favorite meal? On her way, she called Chika just to gist, but Chika sounded distracted. Amaka shrugged it off, bought suya and wine, and decided to stop by Chika's place first since it was close. She thought she'd drag her along for some sisterly bonding. Meanwhile, in Chika's flat, she and Tunde had just taken a long shower together. She wrapped herself in a towel, and Tunde, bare-chested, still damp, hugged her from behind. They were laughing like teenagers when a knock came at the door. Finally. That must be the pizza guy, Chika said, adjusting her towel with a grin. Pizza after dessert? You're just greedy, Tunde teased, kissing her neck. They walked together to the door, Tunde's arms still around her waist. She swung it open, expecting mozzarella and pepperoni, only to meet Amaka's wide, disbelieving eyes. For a moment, the world froze. The only sound was the distant hum of a generator. Amaka's bag of suya fell to the floor. Yezu, Amaka whispered, blinking rapidly. Tunde. Chika. Tunde stammered. Amaka, wait, it's not what it looks like, not what it looks like. Amaka's voice cracked, then rose like a whip. My husband, with my best friend, half naked in towel? Please, do enlighten me. Maybe you were rehearsing for a Nollywood audition. Chika grabbed her towel tighter, trying to salvage dignity. Amaka, listen. Please. It's not serious. It just happened. It just happened? Amaka's laugh was sharp and bitter. Oh, wonderful. My marriage and friendship just tripped and fell into each other's arms, Abi. Neighbors began peeping from balconies. Lagos never sleeps on scandal. Amaka turned to Tunde, eyes blazing. So this is why you come home late? While I'm killing myself raising your children, you're busy, doing community outreach in my best friend's bed. Tunde stepped forward, reaching for her hand, but she snatched it back. Amaka, calm down, please. We can talk about this, she snapped. Save your breath. You disgust me. Both of you. God will judge. Her voice trembled, but she stood tall, dignity clinging to her like armor. Without another word, she picked up her suya bag with shaking hands and walked away. The scandal spread like wildfire. By Sunday morning, everyone in the estate knew. Some whispered behind fans at church, not Chika. She snatched her best friend's husband. Others flooded WhatsApp groups with exaggerated versions of the scene. Amaka filed for divorce within days. She refused Tunde's tears and excuses. In the lawyer's office, Tunde tried one last time. Amaka, think about the kids. Don't destroy our home because of one mistake. Amaka's eyes flashed. One mistake? Sleeping with my best friend is not one mistake. Tunde, it's a demolition project. You destroyed this home with your own hands. Tunde slumped in his chair. His lawyer whispered for him to stay quiet. Chika's own world collapsed soon after. Emeka returned from Dubai to a storm of gossip. The man barely unpacked before neighbors told him everything. When he confronted Chika, she fell to her knees, weeping, "Emeka, Biko, forgive me." It was temptation. It didn't mean anything. But Emeka's face was stone. You slept with my friend's husband. You disgraced me, Chika. You think I'll stay in this house with you? Never. You are shameless. Within a month, both marriages were in divorce proceedings. The court sessions were pure theater. Lawyers sparred with venom, witnesses whispered, and judges rolled their eyes. At one point, Tunde's lawyer argued my client was seduced. Amaka cut in, her voice carrying across the room. Abeg. Was he hypnotized? Did she tie him with juju? He walked there with his 2 legs. Nonsense. The courtroom chuckled, even the judge hiding a smile. Chika tried to defend herself, saying, I didn't plan it. It was a mistake between friends. Emeka, calm but firm, said, You're right. You and Tunde are truly friends. Birds of the same feather. And you can keep each other. The judge granted both divorces swiftly, shaking his head as if tired of human foolishness. Amaka left the court with her children's hands in hers, dignity intact though her heart ached. Chika and Tunde left together, whispering promises to start fresh. But already the cracks showed. Tunde and Chika tried to move on together, but living in the open without secrecy was a poison neither could tolerate. At first, they clung to each other like 2 drowning people, trying to convince themselves that lust was love, that what they did in shadows could survive in daylight. I still love you, Tunde whispered one evening as they sat on Chika's small couch in Aja. A half-eaten pizza between them, Chika scoffed, flipping her hair. Love? Don't make me laugh. You love the idea of a thrill, Tunde. Don't confuse your greed with feelings. Chika, baby, we can rebuild. Lagos has room for second chances. Second chances? She leaned in close, voice low. You ruined Amaka's life, and now you think we can have a fairy tale? No, my dear, fairy tales are for people who don't sleep with each other's wives. They argued every day. Arguments escalated into full-blown shouting matches. You're lazy. Tunde barked one Saturday morning, and you're a coward. Chika shot back. You let Amaka catch you with me like a fool in a Nollywood movie. Neighbors began to whisper. Not what in dem day do now? Dem no day married, but still day fight like street vendors. The church gossip group got wind too, and someone texted, You won't believe. Chika day house day fight tune day every day. The yoga no go sleep well again. Meanwhile, Amaka's life was a study in contrast. She had moved into a new home, one she could call fully hers, away from the scandal. Her children thrived in the calm, and she poured herself into her career, building a reputation as a woman who could survive anything. She laughed freely now, sometimes at Chika and Tunde's expense. Her phone buzzed one afternoon with a message from her new friend, Addie, a soft-spoken entrepreneur who had been a quiet admirer for years. How are my favorite strong woman and her kids today? Amaka smiled, typing back, still standing. Coffee later. They met at a quiet cafe. Addie had that patience she'd come to crave. He didn't push, didn't judge, didn't whisper old gossip in her ear. He listened, really listened, and slowly, Amaka allowed herself to trust again. Back in Aja, Tunde and Chika's fights worsened. Money ran out, tempers flared, and once lively evenings became exercises in endurance. Why is the water bill so high? Chika screamed, throwing a mop across the room. Maybe because you invited all your Instagram friends over for your fake party last week. Tunde snapped. You think this is funny? Chika shouted, slapping the table so hard it rattled the dishes. Funny. Tunde laughed bitterly. My life is a comedy, Chika. A tragedy dressed in drama. They screamed, slammed doors, and occasionally left the flat in frustration, sometimes forgetting the keys inside, sometimes forgetting to pay rent. Bloggers started mentioning them again, painting the couple as a classic cautionary tale, Lagos edition. Meanwhile, Amaka was thriving. Promotions came, her children excelled at school, and her social life expanded with positive friends. She even hosted small brunches for neighbors and colleagues. One Sunday, a friend whispered, "See Amaka, oh, her life's sweet past sugar. Those two people way betray am? Dunday waka lost." Amaka's relationship with Addie developed slowly. He met her kids, played with them, respected her routines. They shared quiet dinners, walks in the park, and deep conversations. When she laughed again, it was genuine, no trace of bitterness, only relief and newfound joy. Back in Aja, Chika's downfall continued. Emeka's divorce settlement had stripped her of the last luxuries, and her Instagram lifestyle had crashed. She scavenged for temporary jobs, begged old friends for loans, and slowly became invisible in the social circles she had once dominated. Tunde, too, faced consequences. His career faltered. The scandal followed him like a shadow. No client wanted a man whose moral compass had collapsed spectacularly. His self-respect dwindled, replaced by late nights with cheap whiskey and bitter reminiscences. One afternoon, Chika called Tunde while he was at the corner shop. "I miss the old us," she said, voice cracking. He sighed. "Which old us? The us that betrayed our friends? The us that destroyed families for thrill? Come back home. We can start fresh," she pleaded. "Start fresh?" "Chika, the only thing fresh about us now is regret. You want fairy tales, I want peace. Go your way, I'll go mine." Years later, Amaka looked back only briefly. Tunde had remarried a quiet woman, but he still carried the weight of his choices. Chika drifted further, a cautionary whisper in every Lagos estate she entered. Amaka, on the other hand, blossomed. She was respected, loved, and wealthy not just in money but in dignity. She watched her children thrive, laughed freely, and walked through life with confidence. One afternoon, she passed Tunde and Chika at the park. Tunde's stomach was bloated, his hair graying. Chika's nails were chipped, her smile forced. They looked at her, but she smiled lightly, turning back to her children. That smile said everything. "I survived. I thrived. You didn't." The two cheaters were ghosts of their former selves. Lagos whispered their story. Beware the thrill. It kills more than you think. Amaka's life, however, told a different story. Betrayal can break a heart, but resilience builds empires. Addie held her hand, her children clung to her legs, and the sun set over a home full of laughter and love. Life had delivered justice in its own Lego-style dramatic flair, and Amaka walked into her future untouchable. Thank you for listening to our story. Don't forget to subscribe and share. What have you learned from this story? Leave a comment to let us know. Thanks.